I've got the inside of a cereal packet. I've washed it and dried it. It's got a few dings from where the cereal was inside it, but I'm hoping that won't make any difference for what I want to use it for. I'm going to make some more resin paper, but I really only want to use that as a base to draw a template, and I'm going to put resin on top of it. So I'm using some Let's Resin UV resin, and I've put a blob onto the plastic. So I'm going to fold over the other side to sandwich it, and then I will be able to spread that out. I've got a felt covered squeegee, and I'm going to smooth this out. I want to try and make this as flat as possible and really thin. I want to be able to cut it with a pair of scissors, and I do need a decent amount of it. I've got to make quite a few petals. So I'll go ahead now and smooth this out. Then I'll cover it with an acrylic block, and then I'm going to cure this under my lamp. Alright, that's cured, and I'm going to remove it from the plastic. It's almost invisible at the moment. It's very difficult to see, and it's super thin, but it peels off of this nicely. So it's a little rippled. As I say, the actual plastic itself was dinged and it has picked up that texture, but I'm covering this with more resin, so that's fine. I'm going to lay it on top of my template, and now I need to outline that. So I'm going to use an alcohol pen. I've got a Copic marker. I'm going to use a yellow because it's a light colour, and I am colouring some of the petals in yellow. So I'll outline them, and then I'll be able to cut these out. I'm just using a pair of papercraft scissors, and I've made this really thin so that I can cut it. That was an error on my part. I slid my scissors along as opposed to cutting properly, and I managed to crack my paper. But it's okay, I'll carry on carefully cutting around, and then I can redo the damaged petals. I should have enough paper that I can redraw those middle petals. But it is something to be aware of. Do try and be careful. It is still resin. It will break easily, especially as this is super thin. So I carefully continued to cut them out, and once I had them all cut out, I was ready to mix up my colours. And I'm using an Amethyst Purple by Arteza, a Pearl White, also by Arteza, and a yellow mica. I don't know which one this is from, it's just a generic one. So I'm going to use some more Let's Resin UV resin, and I will only need very small amounts. So as I'm only putting a small amount of the UV resin in my silicone cup, I will only need a small amount of the mica. The Arteza set came with this tiny little spoon, and that's what I'm going to use, just the tip of that. That should be enough. I'll mix that in and see what that looks like. The Arteza micas do mix in really well, so make sure there are no lumps in there. And that looks like that'll be more than enough. I've mixed up my other two colours, and now I'm ready to start coating the paper. I'm going to start with the white, and I'll put a line along the outer edge of the largest of the two separated petals. Once I've got enough on there, I'm going to put this underneath my lamp, and I'll put it under for 60 seconds. My lamp's just off to the side so that I don't end up curing my pots. Okay, that's cured, and I'm going to use some purple now to fill in the rest of the petal. Just move this over here, and I can layer on up to the white the rest of the purple, and then I will cure this as well. This has one layer on already, and I'm going to add another layer of the same colours. I'm going to put some purple on first, and I don't want too much, I just want a thin layer, but I want fresh uncured resin. I'm going to add the white on as well and just try and blend the two colours together. I didn't like the very definite line that I had between the two colours, so I'm going to blend them together and then cure them. Okay, now I can work on the middle petal. And this is cracked a little bit, but that's not going to make any difference. I'm going to cover this with a layer of resin so that will hold the paper together. So again, I'm going to coat this and then I will put it under my UV lamp off camera. I coated the other side as well, so this has a layer of the yellow on, and I also did the heart-shaped petal, which is curing under my lamp. I'm going to put a little bit more of the yellow on. Again, much like the purple petal, I want a fresh layer of resin so that I can blend in a little bit of the purple. I'm going to add some lines just to the center, some stripes, and then I will cure this, and then I can do the other side. The heart-shaped petal also got another coat of yellow, and I'm adding some more purple. This time I need to put some near the center, some more stripes, and I want a blob right in the middle, so I've basically coloured the center and a blob on the outside. And again, this needs to go under my lamp to cure. Here are my petals all laid out and cured. I want to add a little bit more purple on top of these stripes. I'm doing this onto already cured resin, which means that I should get a little bit more of a defined shape. So I'll put some on these center stripes of the twin petal and on the heart. That's all cured now, and I'm ready to start bonding them. I'm going to use the Let's Resin UV resin. It's a bonding resin, and it comes with a torch that's USB chargeable. It sets within 5 seconds, so this makes it ideal for building flowers. I'm going to put some onto my silicone mat. I find it easier to pick up rather than to squeeze directly from the bottle. So I'll put a blob there. And then I can grab my stick. I'll just use it was a micro brush that I pulled the end off, and I'm going to start building from the center. I'll put a blob onto the middle of the twin petals, and I want to angle this, so I'm going to prop this up on my mould because I just don't have enough hands, and I will slightly angle that heart petal. And then I can use my torch to set it. And as I say, this sets so quickly. Within 5 seconds, that will be enough for me to start moving it around. And then I can aim the torch in the back, making sure I don't put it on that blob on my mat. And that will be done. I will give this another proper cure afterwards, just to make sure, but that's enough. So that's the center part, the front part. Now I need to bond these two together, and they're going to overlap slightly. I'll put some resin along this edge, and then I can again prop this up. I'm going to use my resin mold to help me, and these are see-through enough that I should be able to get some kind of a bond between the layers, but because they're not flat, there will always be slight areas that you can get the torch into. So I'm angling it, trying to get right in there, and they are stuck enough. So I should have a little bit of a gap down there. Get that light in there, and that will set that resin, and I'll get a good fix. Really making sure you don't need to do it for that long. So now I just need to fix these two together. and you can see that I have made a pansy. I made it large so that I could explain to you how to do it. So I'll pick up some more of the resin and put a blob on the twin petals at the top. Make sure I get a good amount. Then I can hold this bottom piece in place, making sure that it does contact that resin, and I'll shine my torch in from behind. I really want to make sure that this gets stuck together. There's quite a large amount of resin in there, and I don't know why I'm waving the torch around. It doesn't aid in any way in the curing. Anyway, this is now done. I can always put a brooch back on the back of that. It is large, so I want to try and have another go at making smaller ones that I could use for earrings. I'm going to attempt to do it freehand, just on my top of my mould. So I will speed this up and let you see how I did.
Pretty pansies stand so tall with faces turned to the sky, chasing warmth as the days go by. Purple hearts and golden gleams, dancing softly in the beams. Whispers of colors soft and bright, underneath the morning light. Pretty pansies, bright and fair, with purple and yellow everywhere, turning their faces to the sun, blooming in the warmth they're never done. The colors speak what words can't say, a little piece of joy each day. In the garden where the sunlight falls, pretty pansies stand so tall. The faces turn to the sky, chasing warmth as the days go by. Purple hearts and golden gleams, dancing softly in the beams. Whispers of colors soft and bright, underneath the morning light. Pretty pansies, bright and fair, with purple and yellow everywhere, turning their faces to the sun, blooming in the warmth they're never done. The colors speak what words can't say, a little piece of joy each day. In the breeze they gently sway, 1,000 shades in the light of day. Soft petals painted like a dream, a rainbow born from nature's scheme. Purple hearts and golden gleams, dancing softly in the beams. Whispers of colors soft and bright, underneath the morning light. Pretty pansies, bright and fair, with purple and yellow everywhere, turning their faces to the sun, blooming in the warmth they're never done. The colors speak what words can't say, a little piece of joy each day. Through the seasons they stand strong, with vibrant hues they sing their song. A paint a smile for all to see, a gift of nature wild and free. A little piece of joy each day. Pansies in the breeze, a living poem, a quiet tease. Purple, yellow, pure delight, shining softly in the light.
Okay, here they are. I don't think I did too badly. It's really small and perfect size, I think, for an earring. The difference between the template is that you are likely to get that the same size each time. I don't know that I will be able to make one exactly the same size again if I make it freehand, but I did enjoy doing it that way. I'll leave a link to the template down below in the description box. I think I'm going to be making more of these. If you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, comment. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Just click the subscribe button. You don't have to be a member or anything, it's free. And then you'll find out what I'm going to be making next time. I'll leave you with some photos. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
The sunlight falls, pretty pansies stand so tall, with faces turned to the sky, chasing warmth as the days go by. Purple hearts and golden gleams, dancing softly in the beams. Whispers of colors soft and bright.